Welcome to RSET Online Lectures, continuation of Module 4 on the subject CS309 Graph Theory and Combinatorics, Part 3. In this section, we discuss on planar graph and some of its properties. Definition of planar graph. A graph G is said to be planar if there exists some geometric representation of G which can be drawn on a plane such that no two of its edges intersect. A graph that cannot be drawn on a plane without a crossover between the edges is called non-planar graph. Note that meeting of edges at a vertex is not considered as an intersection. A drawing of a geometric representation of a graph on any surface such that no edges intersect is called embedding. Some examples of planar graph are shown in the figure. In all the figures, no two edges are intersecting each other. Examples for non-planar graph. The first graph is the complete graph with 5 vertices, and the second graph is representing the graph for the utility problem, and this graph is also known as the complete bipartite graph K33. To prove that a graph is planar, if there exists a graph isomorphic to G that is embedded in a plane. Embedding means if you can draw the graph such that no two edges intersect. Otherwise, G is non-planar. If two of the edges are intersecting, then we can say that the graph is non-planar. An embedding of a planar graph G on a plane is called a plane representation of G. Another example for a planar graph. You have given a question, prove that the graph G is planar. In this representation, the edges F and E is intersecting. And we can show that this graph can be embedded in a plane as by redrawing like this. The edge F can be drawn as a curved line outside that rectangle. Therefore, this graph is a planar graph. Now we can define Kuratowski's two types of graph in which the first graph is the complete graph of 5 vertices. We can prove that K5 is non-planar. Let the 5 vertices of the complete graph be named as V1, V2, V3, V4 and V5, and which is represented in this figure. In case A, we must have a circuit going from V1, V2, V3, V4, V5 and V1, that is a pentagon. This pentagon divides the plane into two regions. One is inside the pentagon and the second face is the outside the pentagon. In the figure B, the vertex V1 connected to V3 by an edge drawn either inside or outside the pentagon without intersecting the 5 edges drawn. Suppose we choose it inside the pentagon, that is the edge joining V1 and V3. Continuing like this in E, to draw an edge between V1 and V4, like this V1 and V4, this edge cannot be placed inside or outside the pentagon without crossover. Thus, the graph cannot be embedded in a plane as shown in the figure E. Therefore, Kuratowski's first graph is non-planar. And the proof is given in this slide. Kuratowski's second graph. The second graph of Kuratowski is a regular connected graph with 6 vertices and 9 edges as shown in figure A and B below. This representation is already we used in the utility problem. We can show that this representation is not a planar graph. If you are embedding the Kuratowski's second graph like this. We cannot join the edges U2 and V2 without crossover. In the second figure, we cannot join the edges U2 and V3 without a crossover. Therefore, Kutovski's second graph is also non-planar. The properties common to the two graphs of Kutovski's are both the graphs are regular graph. In the complete graph K5, the graph is 4 regular and the Kutovski's second graph is 3 regular. The second property, both are non-planar. And removal of one edge or a vertex make each a planar graph. Kutovski's first graph is the non-planar graph with the smallest number of vertices, and Kutovski's second graph is the non-planar graph with smallest number of edges. Thus, both are the simplest non-planar graphs. Now, different representations of planar graph. Theorem: any simple planar graph can be embedded in a plane such that every edge is drawn as a straight line segment. That is, there is no need to bend edges in drawing a planar graph to avoid edge intersection. Now we can define region. A plane representation of a graph divides the plane into regions, also called windows, faces or meshes. A region is characterized by set of edges or the set of vertices forming its boundary. Note that a region cannot be defined in a non-planar graph or even in a planar graph if it is not embedded in a plane. If a planar graph is embedded in a plane, we can define the region. Now another representation of a planar graph is the straight line representation. In figure 2, you are given a planar graph in which no two edges are intersecting. Therefore, the given graph 2 is planar. The graph 2 can be represented as shown in figure 1, in which all the edges are drawn as straight line segments. For that, if we are fixing the vertex V1 here, in figure 2, the adjacent vertices of V1 are V2, V4 and V5, and these edges can be mapped onto V2, V4, V5 in figure 1 so that these edges V2, V4 and V5 are adjacent to V1. Now we go to the vertex V2. In figure 2, the adjacent vertices of V2 are V1, V3 and V4, and this can be mapped onto this figure as the adjacent vertices of V2 in 1 are V1, V4 and V5, and we are joining the vertices V2 and V5 by an edge using a straight line. Similarly, an edge connecting V2 and V4 is a straight line. Now consider the vertex V3. In figure 2, the adjacent vertices of V3 are V2, V5 and V4. This can be represented by a straight line segment by V3, V4, V3, V5 and V3, V2. And one more edge connecting V4 and V5. In figure 2 also V4 and V5 are adjacent. In figure 1, all the edges are drawn as straight line segment. Therefore, figure 1 is another representation of planar graph. Now, definition of infinite region. The portion of the plane lying outside a graph embedded in a plane is infinite in its extent. Such a region is called the infinite or unbounded outer or exterior region for that particular plane representation. By changing the embedding of a given planar graph, we can change the infinite region, which can be illustrated by the following example. In the example, in figure 2, the region bounded by The edge joining the vertices V1, V5, V4, V1 is inside the triangular region, but as in figure 1, the region bounded by the edge joining the vertices V1, V5, V4 and V1 is at infinite region. That is, using this embedding, the finite region in 2 becomes an infinite region in 1. Embedding on a sphere. To eliminate the distinction between finite and infinite regions, a planar graph is often embedded in the surface of a sphere. It is accomplished by stereographic projection of a sphere on the plane. Put the sphere on the plane and call the point of contact South Pole. From the point South Pole, draw a straight line perpendicular to the plane and let the point where this line intersects the surface of the sphere be called North Pole. Now, corresponding to any point P on the plane, there exists a unique point P dash on the surface of the sphere at which the straight line from P to North Pole intersect, which can be illustrated in the following slide. Consider the point of contact of the sphere with the plane as South Pole, and if you draw a line perpendicular to the plane which meets the surface of the sphere at North Pole. Suppose if P is a point on the surface of the plane, if you draw a line from P to North Pole, this line intersects the surface of the sphere at P dash. Therefore, image of the point P on the plane can be represented as P dash on the sphere. Thus, there is a one-to-one correspondence between the points of the sphere and the finite points on the plane. And points at infinity on the plane corresponds to the point North Pole on the sphere. Now consider a triangle with vertices P1, P2, P3 which is on the plane. If you are embedding the triangle on the surface of the sphere, consider a line from P1 to North Pole so that the line intersects the surface of the sphere at P1 dash. Therefore, image of P1 is P1 dash on the surface of the sphere. Similarly, the points P2 and P3 can be embedded on the sphere as the points P2 dash and P3 dash by drawing lines from the point to the North Pole, and hence you can embedding a figure. This figure is triangle on the surface of the sphere. Euler's theorem. This theorem is related to a planar graph. The statement is a connected planar graph with n vertices, f faces and e edges satisfies the relation f plus n minus e equal to 2 or e minus n plus 2 equal to f. The proof can be done by induction on the number of edges of G. If number of edges equal to 0, then you will have only one vertex for the graph. In that case, the number of region equal to 1, and that region is the infinite region. In this graph, there is only one vertex. That vertex is an isolated vertex. For the region corresponding to that graph will be an infinite region. Now consider the relation f plus n minus e. When e equal to 0, then number of region equal to 1 and number of vertices equal to 1 and edge equal to 0. Therefore, you are getting 1 plus 1 minus 0 equal to 2. By induction method, if you take the number of edge equal to 1. In this case, we have two cases. One edge means that edge may be a loop with one vertex. In this case, you have e minus n plus 2 is equal to e is the number of edges, n is the number of vertex. For e equal to 1, n equal to 1 plus 2. That gives two faces. It is clear that if you consider a loop with one vertex, you have one interior face and one exterior face. Therefore, the relation in Euler's formula is satisfying. Now next case is an edge with two end vertices. E equal to 1 means that edge may have with two end vertices. In that case n equal to 2 and e equal to 1. Then consider the formula e minus n plus 2, that is equal to 1 minus 2 plus 2 equal to 1 face. If the graph is represented by an edge with two end vertices, the number of region is only one. That region is infinite. Therefore, the result is true for E equal to 1. Now assume that if G is a tree with n vertices, in that case you will have n minus 1 edges. An acyclic graph with n vertices is a tree, then the number of edges in a tree equal to n minus 1, and hence the formula E minus n plus 2 gives n minus 1, E equal to n minus 1 minus number of vertices n plus 2 equal to 1 face. In the case of a tree, you will have only one face, that is the infinite region. Now let us consider this result is true for any connected planar graph with E minus 1 edges. If G is not a tree, let X be an edge in some cycle of G. Let G be a plane graph with n vertices, E edges and F faces. Let X be an edge of the graph G. Then G minus X is a connected plane graph with n vertices, E minus 1 edges and F minus 1 faces. Since we are removing one edge from the graph with E edges, you will have now E minus 1 edges and one region will be removed since X is an edge belong to a cycle. Now in this graph you will have only n vertices, E minus 1 edges and F minus 1 region. Since because of our assumption, if the graph G with E minus 1 edges, then the relation in Euler's theorem is satisfied. Therefore, by induction hypothesis, we get E minus 1 minus n plus 2 equal to number of faces. In the current case, you will have only F minus 1 faces. Therefore, using this relation, if this minus 1 is cancelled on both sides, you are getting the formula E minus n plus 2 equal to F, which is the formula given in Euler's theorem. Hence, the proof of the theorem. That means we prove the theorem using induction method. Therefore, if you have given a planar graph with E edges, n vertices and F faces, then E minus n plus 2 equal to F will satisfy. A corollary related to Euler's theorem. In any simple connected planar graph with F region, n vertices and E edges where E greater than 2, the following inequalities must hold. E greater than or equal to 3 by 2F and E less than or equal to 3n minus 6. The proof of the theorem. Since each region is bounded by at least 3 edges and each edge belongs to exactly 2 regions, we get 2E greater than or equal to 3F or E greater than or equal to 3 by 2F. Now substituting for F in Euler's formula, F equal to E minus n plus 2. From the first relation, since E greater than or equal to 3 by 2F, E greater than or equal to 3 by 2 into this formula, E minus n plus 2 is substituted for F. We are getting E less than or equal to 3n minus 6. And with this, we complete the section. Thank you.